Hi, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I figured the first real video I put on here should be an introduction and an explanation of what this channel is and what will be posted here. Let's get right into it. I chose this channel name because I wanted one account where I could do everything. Let's backtrack a bit. When I get into something, I tend to hyperfixate on it. For me, that means that that's pretty much the only thing that I can focus on. When I get a new interest, I usually make a whole new set of accounts for that interest because I need to customize my feeds to only be that interest. I also get so into it that that's all I want to post about and all I want to see. Anything unrelated to that interest, even things I like and have been fixated on before, give me the ick. Then the fixation will die down and I'll go into a bit of a slump where nothing is interesting, or I'll jump headfirst into another interest complete with its own set of accounts so I can fully immerse myself again. I made this account so I could be free from my self-imposed shackles and post about whatever I want in the moment. So heads up, the content on this channel will most likely change and shift as my interests do, but my passion for said things will likely remain the same. Side note, these fixations are different from regular interests. Like, I enjoy and collect nail polish, and I like doing my nails, but the thought of it doesn't consume my every waking thought like my fixations do. I've been into art for as long as I can remember, but when art became my fixation, I would draw until I physically couldn't. My hands would ache. I would study anatomy, color theory, perspective until I couldn't take in any more information. I would look up the draw this in your style posts, and my mind would be overflowing with ideas of how I could make those characters in my style. My art phases are usually pretty short. They usually lead to burnout very quickly. I got into crocheting when we adopted our cat from the shelter. I wanted to make him some toys, and I liked it so much that I made some more to donate to the shelter we got him from. My next project after that was a dice bag, which is some kind of foreshadowing because I was never into any games that needed dice. I thought dice were pretty, but I never owned any or played with any. So I streamed at the time, and I made many dice bags on stream. One stream, a viewer asked me very kindly if I had ever made anything else. I hadn't even really thought about making anything else, but since then I've gone through phases on and off of crocheting things. In one phase, I made a few shawls back to back that I never wear. I've finished a cardigan, started 3 more, and I've made many more dice bags. I got into amigurumi for a while too, and I made a lot of Yoshis and a con from Bleach. Same as art, I will crochet until I physically can't anymore, and have only recently been able to force myself to take breaks when I'm super into a project. Collecting and looking at yarn was also its own interest that goes hand in hand with this one. I'm still trying to work through my stash. I'm currently in a bit of a more normal spot with crochet, but I think that's only because I'm doing it in tandem with my other current interest. I was a World of Warcraft player in my teens and on and off through my 20s, but I got into Final Fantasy XIV a few years ago and was really into it for a while. I have 2 characters with almost all their jobs maxed, and I have a lot of lore about them in my mind. I had a lot of fun doing events and games with friends, and when I wasn't grinding levels, I even managed to get a house. I don't play much lately, but the story is incredible and the game still holds a really special place in my heart. The fixation briefly included Final Fantasy as a whole, and I was planning to start playing the games from the earliest Final Fantasy game I could find. I didn't start that, but it was a good dream. I then got into aesthetic desk setups. My room and desk are pretty small, so I have very limited space to work with, but I was determined to make it as cute and cozy as I could. I was already into this a little bit before, so I had some pre-existing lights to work with. Honestly, not much of my setup had changed during that time, but the fixation was more in looking at other setups and planning what I can do with mine. I did get a really nice keyboard for my birthday that year, and that tied into this whole thing. The fixation migrated a bit from aesthetic desk to cute things in general. I watched Sailor Moon a lot as a child and started watching it again here from episode 1. I got into modding my 3DS to make it cute, and I loved watching other people customize theirs. I got back into cute games of my past like Katamari and Pokémon, which leads me into... I got really into Pokemon again last year. This fixation hit pretty hard, and, as I am wont to do, made a new set of accounts and immersed myself again. I got into collecting the cards again and was actually playing the trading card game. I would look up deck building and strategy videos, watch people's vlogs of them playing at their regionals, and had delusions of grandeur that I'd be able to play at my local competition someday. Never mind the fact that I didn't even like playing against my husband because I didn't want to beat him, and I don't think I'd ever feel comfortable playing against a stranger. But no, clearly I was bound for worlds. Just like with Final Fantasy and Sailor Moon before it, I started watching the anime from episode 1, as well as playing through all the games starting with Gen 1. I got mostly through Emerald before I started burning out. I was also making a lot of Pokemon related art and stickers at this time, and I would still like to play through all the games but at a healthier and more relaxed rate. There is some more foreshadowing here, because once while we were opening packs at our local game store, we were approached to see if we would like to try Dungeons & Dragons. As someone with a lot of anxiety, including socially, I was too scared to try, and honestly not that interested. Spoiler alert, I'm obsessed with it now. Near the end of my Pokemon adventure, I had some health stuff going on. I had wanted a Switch for a while, and my mom and husband gifted me one to try to relax after said health stuff. I was still dead set on playing the Pokemon games in order, so the game I got with the Switch was Animal Crossing. That game honestly did do wonders for my mental health at the time, and was starting to become a fixation of its own. I did play it a lot, but I didn't quite make it to the point where I made a few new accounts. I was close though. I remember feeling a bit sad that I got it so late since there wasn't much new content for it, but I still immersed myself in it a lot. I would watch Animal Crossing streams and customization videos while I played, and I also got back into Pocket Camp for a while there too. The time after that, like a lot of time for me honestly, is a bit of a blur. I'm sure I drew and crocheted and played some games here and there, but I was in that dark limbo place of nothing being that interesting to me. These times are the worst, but the thing that brought me out of that is... oh man, do I love this game. It wasn't even on my radar at first, but my husband and I had heard good things about it and decided to give it a try. We'd both never played D&D before, so getting used to the combat and controls took a while. Once I got it though, I was absolutely hooked. I found myself playing every minute I could, and when I couldn't, I was thinking about it. All the choices I've made, the ones I would have to make, the stories of my companions in the world overall, the incredible acting and storytelling. I was so immersed I didn't even have time or brain space to make a new set of accounts for it. Seeing the healing and growth in the companions really seemed to heal something in me too. I beat the game back before they released the epilogue, and I remember feeling so empty and honestly sad when I beat it. The companions and my Tav felt so real that it really felt like friends had been taken away from me. I did do another playthrough as Dark Urge, but it wasn't enough. I remembered the invite we got to try D&D from our local game store, and the rest is history. This is currently where I'm at right now. I remember the first day of D&D like it was yesterday. The same person who invited us to play the time before was the one to guide us that day. There were some other new players at the table, and he helped all of us make our characters. I remade my Baldur's Gate 3 character, a tiefling sorcerer, and my husband made a dragonborn fighter. The thought of sitting at a table for 4 hours with strangers was so daunting, but we all had an amazing time. We've rarely missed a week since, and all those strangers have become friends. We found a great community through D&D, and I'll be forever grateful. It doesn't just stop at playing though. Somehow through D&D I've been able to engage with my past creative fixations in a mostly healthy way. With art, I've been able to draw character art and design character journal elements, and then move into something else without losing the interest to come back and do it again. I've been able to crochet dice bags, but this time with purpose, either as gifts for fellow players or DMs, or for specific characters of mine or my husband's. I've also started a shawl that I'd like to add crystals to wear to some of the epic events they hold. I've developed an interest in prop crafting, mini painting, and map making. I've become a full-fledged dice goblin, and I've started bringing sets with me to our weekly games to give to new adventurers. I have a lot of D&D related crafts planned, and I'm so excited to work on all of them. I'll be making and sharing things as I'm able, and I can't wait to get some of these projects going. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If there's any crafts or dice bags or anything you'd like to see from me in the future, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to give it a try. Thank you so much again, take care, and I hope to see you next time.